Kamusta na kayo?
Hola, hola, everyone.
What's good, everybody? My name is Nico Blitz,
And I'm Jackie Ramirez.
and this is the Mexipino podcast, episode 40, the big 4-0.
Ooh, 4-0. I'm excited. Dang, 40 episodes? What the heck?
40 episodes, yeah. And also, fun fact, we're coming up on our 1 year very
Yes, we
shortly.
are. December
Prob-
3rd.
yeah, so like a little around like four more episodes, and then we should, or maybe three actually, yeah. Three
Maybe
episodes, and
3.
we'll be like in a full year of a Mexipino podcast.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. What the heck?
It is.
Does December 3rd actually land on a Tuesday this year? Hold on.
I don't know. It might. It just might. Let's see.
Let's
December 3rd actually lands on a Saturday.
Saturday.
So I think the one that we do on November 29th, or the podcast that we release on the 29th, will actually be closest to our 1 year. We might
Yeah.
have to do a special one on the 3rd. I think we might have to
I
do a special one on the 3rd.
I think we can. I think we might be able to.
Yeah, I think so too.
But this episode, we are going to talk about a show that we've been watching for a while now.
Yes.
It is called Love is Blind on Netflix. But yeah, we really wanted to talk about it because it's just so interesting to me. Like shows like this to me are interesting to me, and I actually got Nico to start watching it with me in the second season.
Yes.
So Nico hasn't seen the first season at all, which I think is probably one of the best seasons, like love wise,
Mm.
because a lot of those couples are not a lot, but like there are couples that are still like married from season 1.
Yeah. So, fellas, like, anybody in general, like, it's a show that I didn't think that I would be really interested in, but Jackie basically was like, let's just watch the first episode of season 2. And it's a very interesting way in which people go about finding love in
Mm-hmm.
this. I mean, they kind of separated between like the pod world and the real world. Babe, if you want to explain to everybody like the synopsis of Love is Blind.
Okay, so the synopsis of Love is Blind is to answer the question, is love truly blind? So these contestants or people just go through a process of to find love with the intention of getting married, and I think it's a month or like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a group of like 20 guys, 20 girls, and they all go into these things called pods, and there's a wall between them. So they never see each other. They can only talk to each other and date each other off of just talking through to each other through a wall.
Yeah, just through conversations. And this wall, for all my Catholics listening to this podcast, like it literally looks like the wall where you would have confession and you would
Mm-hmm.
talk to a priest. It's kind of like this little like translucent wall. You can get like an image of the person, like I guess like a very vague image of them, but like you
Yeah,
can't really see them.
but you can't see the person at all. You can this experiment is more of just to get to know someone by their personality and see if you can build an emotional connection with them rather than a physical one
Yeah.
first before actually seeing them. Because then this gives you the opportunity to see if, you might be with this person personality wise, but in the real world, you might not go after this person physically.
Yeah, so a lot of the scenarios that they draw up is kind of like imagine you're at a bar, for example, and you see
Mm-hmm.
someone who like you are attracted to,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the courage to talk to this person and say like, "Oh, I think you're attractive. Let me get your number, da da da, wooty woo." Well,
Mm-hmm.
in this scenario, it's like you're not seeing this person, you're literally just talking to them and seeing if you would be interested in them based off their personality, which is something that is I feel like is actually a lot more unprecedented these days because
Mm-hmm.
I think with the access of like social media, it's like you have access to see like as many guys or as many girls, whatever you're into, like on the internet. So it's like you're constantly pulled between like you see what you're attracted to like way more easily.
Absolutely.
And I think also if you are someone who is getting hit on a lot, it's like, well, maybe you might feel like you have a lot of choices because there's just so many fish in the sea. But
Right.
it's very rare to find someone that you just have like a very interpersonal relationship with, and you can fall in love with, not based off their looks but based off their personality alone.
Mhm. And the craziest part of this experiment, Love is Blind, is they have 14 days to propose to someone. So
Insane.
they have 14 days to date as many people as they can and build connections with as many people as they can. And at the end, they end up with like their top 2 people. And ultimately, it's their decision. They can only see the other person if they propose and they say yes. So basically the process goes: you date them, build that emotional connection with them and their personality, propose. If they say yes, you get to meet them. After you meet them, you get to go on kind of like a mini vacation with your significant other, your fiance at this point, of 14
Yes.
days, your fiance. And there you get to see how you guys would mingle and live with each other, and then also get to meet the others that are going through the same process as you.
Yeah.
um
So, for instance, right, like if me and Jackie are in the pods together
mhm,
and I've already quote unquote dated like other girls, and Jackie's quote unquote dated other guys during that process as well, we would all be put together in like rooms or bars or whatever, and we'd be able to mingle and interact with each other. So, the way the show pitches it, it's like you're mingling, you have the opportunity to mingle and connect with your exes, quote unquote, in real
mhm.
life.
Yeah. And so then from there, they would go back home to their normal lives, meet their families, go. And then all this is while they're preparing for their wedding in like 2 weeks, like
It
two or
sounds
three
so
weeks.
crazy since we're talking about it, right? Like it's an
Yeah.
insane synopsis of what the show is.
Oh, absolutely. But I think I don't know. Like, I've seen season 1, and obviously we've seen
Okay.
season 2, and we're seeing season 3 right now, but I think season 1, the people that were on season 1 had a lot better intentions than the people in these past couple seasons.
Mm. Like, so you mean like in season one, people were more so like seriously looking for love?
Seriously looking for love, seriously didn't care about looks, didn't care about, like, of course there were some people who were like obviously cared about looks.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog's crying right now. Um, but I feel like season 2 and season 3, a lot more people are asking the question of like, oh, so like, what do you look like? Blah blah blah. And that's not the purpose of this show. This purpose
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
show is to be with someone for who they are and their personality rather than their physical appearance.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for someone who entered into this show at season two was filled with a lot more of those questions, and season three is just filled with, I guess, just so much more drama. Like I
Yes.
think season three is just jam packed with a lot of drama, and
Oh, absolutely.
for people who are into Love Is Blind, or let's say you're just probably don't want to watch it, but you are interested in this conversation and the whole heap of relationship topics we're about to talk about, there may or may not be some spoilers in this particular episode. Just FYI, so
So
it
go
might be
catch
the
up.
episode for you, but it also might not be.
So if you guys are watching Love Is Blind, make sure you catch up. Today is November 8th when
Eighth,
we're
yes.
releasing this, November 8th. So we actually will be getting it midnight tonight,
Yes,
because
yeah.
it comes out the last episodes come out the 9th. So we'll be getting a midnight tonight.
Yeah.
So you have until midnight to catch
Yeah.
up. But
But we're
anyway,
not doing like a full recap of the entire
no.
season. We definitely want to talk about the interpersonal relationships that each of these couples have. So please
Mhm.
follow along with the names. But
Mhm.
also too, there's a lot of like insane questions that we are grabbing from each of these couples.
Yeah, because I think that like Love Is Blind, yes, it's a crazy experiment. Yes, it's a crazy way to meet love, but this experiment allows like questions to come up where, like, Nico and I haven't had conversations about certain situations, and
Exactly.
this show has brought us to have those conversations. We're like, hey, like, I never got your opinion on this. Like, what would
Yes.
happen in this scenario for us? Like, would you
Yes.
let me choose? Would you choose for me? Like, so that's why we wanted to do this. But yeah.
Yeah. So I think the way we can make this easy for everybody is we're gonna go over like each couple, and
Mhm.
then we're gonna pull out a very direct question in regards to this couple, but then also pull out a question that, generally that you can ask like your partner, your significant other, or someone that you might think that you're interested in dating.
Yeah.
So the first couple that we want to go over, their names are Alexa and Brennan. And shout out to everybody. I might have just went off on like all your Alexas if you have them in the house.
Alexa, play Love is Blind.
So I guess to perfectly, at least in my opinion, the way I can describe Alexa and Brennan, Alexa is a rich Jewish. She comes from like a rich Jewish family, and
Mhm.
Brennan comes from more like a farmland
Country.
country, more simple type of life.
Yes. And something that they really struggle with in their relationship. I honestly, right now at this point in the season, I do that think that they are gonna get married, and I think
Yeah.
they are gonna say I do at the altar. However, one of the biggest issues that they are having, or not biggest issues, but one of the issues that I can see for happening, and so can Nico, is money and financial well-being. And because Alexa, you can see that she like lived a very privileged life.
Yes.
And I think it's very interesting that, like, when Brennan met her family the first time, her dad automatically was like, what can you bring financially for my daughter?
Yeah, which is insane because, I feel like we're at a day and age where it matters, but it's always a weird question to get asked, especially if it's like the parents asking it, right? Like,
Oh,
I would
absolutely.
feel so offended, not only for you, but also like for me, if like my parents had ever asked you, like, oh, so what financial benefits can you bring to Nico's life if you guys were in a marriage? I'd be like, why the hell would you just ask that?
I
Like,
feel
that's
like
nuts.
I feel like there's a way to like ask that in a sense still though. I feel like there's like it's like okay, like for example, like if we're like we are planning to move in together at some point,
Yeah.
and but if like one of our parents were to have asked us like, "Oh, like how are you guys splitting the financial responsibility?" I feel
Yeah.
like that's more acceptable than like them expecting you to pay everything for me.
Yeah, exactly. And like it is a weird situation because I think if you guys see their differences are huge. Like Alexa
Mhm.
lives in like this huge big mansion looking house, and Brennan, he lives on a farm, and it looks like a lot more chill. Like frankly,
Mhm.
I'm actually rocking with Brennan because I'm just like, yo, I want to kick back. I got all this farmland. I am chilling. But then also in my mind too, it's like, well, I think farmers come with a lot of dough anyway. So like, why does that even really matter? But
Mhm.
like, it's weird if you're like a parent and you're trying to figure out if someone is right for like your daughter, especially, and your first question is, how much money can you bring in?
Yeah, or
And
like what type of lifestyle can you bring for her? Like are you able to afford travel? Are you able to afford this and that? And I think that's such an outdated concept now of like, oh, what can you bring financially to
yeah.
my kid, like to my child who you are seeking to marry or seeking to have a future with? Like I feel like that's just such an outdated concept because for me, like I know I can provide for myself, and if I want to buy you something, then yeah, I can buy you something, but I'm not gonna be your sugar mama, like.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But I think also on the flip side too, like if I were to put myself in like a rich person's shoes, right?
Mhm.
You're used to like a certain way of living. So I remember Jackie and I one time we went to Nobu, and we were just looking at these like 10-year-old kids. And y'all, Nobu was pricey, y'all. Like, if you ever go to Nobu, it's like dog. Like, you're literally using up like a week's worth of like your money, if anything. And we're
Yeah.
just looking at these 10-year-old kids, like these kids have no idea what eating at a Sizzlers would be like.
Yeah,
Like
or eating like probably like a ramen, like
or
cup
like
of
a
noodles.
McDonald's. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like just eating at like the regular spots that we go to. So if you're coming from like a like a background where you're a little bit more like comfortable, I can see why you would have like a certain standard of living, and like if anything came a little bit less, it's kind of like why would you settle for like something less in that sense, you know?
Yeah, but I wouldn't say settling either. Like, I feel like if, in this case of Alexa and Brennan, I feel like if Alexa truly does love Brennan for
Yeah.
his personality, other than rather than like what he is financially and
Yeah.
his social status, then it shouldn't matter. It
Yeah.
shouldn't matter.
1,000%.
That's just me.
But,
But
well, that's why there's an interesting thing in this whole plot, because there was a conversation of having a prenup.
oh yes.
Yeah, there was a
Oh yeah.
conversation of having a prenup, and I'm over here. Jackie had literally asked me, like, would you ever,
Or I asked
like,
you, would you get offended?
yeah, would you get offended? Yeah. She asked me if I would get offended if she wanted a prenup. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'd get offended. Like, first of all, I think you and your partner need to be on the same page of like how much income is actually coming in,
Mhm.
and like money shouldn't matter at the end of the day. I mean, granted, I'm not gonna like bum it out and just milk Jackie of all her money or whatever, but there would have to be like that sort of agreement to be like, well, I know I'm making this, I know
Mhm.
you're making this, and therefore we're just gonna put everything together and just hope that we're both gonna be doing the same thing and more and making more later down the line. I don't think
Yeah.
a prenup is ever necessary. Now, but if you're in a situation where it's kind of like a Captain Save a Hoe type situation, no, for real. Like if you're making like $1 million and like your person's making like $0 for, and that's like at the extreme, like,
Yeah.
it's like, are you
I
really gonna bank that this
I
person's
f
gonna like figure it out?
I feel like there are instances where it's like if there's a family like fortune or if there's a family like business and you want to keep that, like you want to make sure that that's gonna be safe. Absolutely. Like I
Yeah.
think a prenup is very necessary in those cases. However, like I do think for me being on the like okay side financially, I
Yeah.
just think like you said, like I think, and this is me, I don't know. Nico and I might even talk about things right now that we haven't talked about. But for me, I think if I would like Nico and I to have, yes, a savings account that is a joint savings account with your partner, but also have separate checking accounts that I can spend money on my makeup. I can spend money on Amazon purchases, and Nico can pay his Pokemon stuff. He can pay whatever
Yes.
he wants
Yes.
because at the end of the day, if we put all of our coins in one piggy bank and Nico spends like $80 on a Pokemon box, I'll be like, that's my $80 too, like that's my
Yeah.
$80 too. Like I feel like in a relationship you should yes have a joint account but also two separate checking accounts so that way you and your partners can do whatever it is and spend whatever it is that you want to spend. Cuz
Yeah.
I know Nico's not going to pay for like my $80, $100 Target runs.
No, hell
Like
no.
exactly.
Like
But
like when I be going to Target, I'm trying to spend the least amount. What can I leave with $20 in my pocket? Like
yeah,
that's all I
but
want to spend.
I also know that like wise like internet spending like bills and
Yeah.
everything like that groceries that is something we both have to pay for
Yeah,
so
like things that we share, definitely things that we share. So
mhm.
that's where I think a savings account definitely will come into handy. Will be handy rather.
Yeah.
So, that's just my thing. Like I don't think a prenup is actually ever necessary. I think if it came down to that, maybe that's not the person for you. Just maybe
I,
is not the person for
I
you.
feel like a prenup is almost kind of like betting that you're gonna divorce.
Yeah, yeah, that's why. It's like I have this idea that in the future, in the event in which we divorce, you don't touch any of my money. So you're already building a foundation of trust or lack thereof. That's what I feel like a prenup is.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree.
So
But
that, but they
so,
do also have another issue with them too.
and yeah, I would yeah, I would call it a little issue, but so Alexa and Brennan are of different religions.
Religions. Alexa's
Alexa
Jewish.
Alexa is Jewish and Brennan is Christian, I believe.
Yeah.
Um and they said like her family has said like whatever offspring you guys have, they are Jewish. Like straight up, like they have to take their mothers. Like I guess that's part of like the Jewish religion that any kid comes after has to be Jewish.
Hmm.
Um and they even asked Brennan if he's willing to convert to their religion, and he's open to it, but I feel like Brennan's just doing this for the sake of the experiment to get married.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like he is leaning a little bit too much on her side. I don't see her leaning on his side at all.
Yeah, I don't see her
And
doing any compromises for him.
I just don't see it. Like, I just think that I mean, I think when it comes to like the money thing and what her dad wants, and it's like,
Hmm.
well, this is my family, and her family is a lot more like upfront
Oh,
and have
absolutely.
much more of like the adamant genes.
Hmm.
So I feel like when you're coming from like she's more so the alpha in this specific relationship. But
Hmm.
when you're coming from that, it's like, well, what do I really have to compromise if I know what I want, I know how I'm gonna get it, and you're either gonna be rocking with me or you're not.
Again, it goes back to living, and this is like aside from religion, it goes back to like being privileged, growing up comfortable,
Yeah,
growing up like she's never had to, at least from what it seems like on the show, she's never
yeah.
had to like go through,
The struggles.
the
Yeah.
struggle of anything. And I feel like while you can make compromises for your partner, and I speak from this from experience with my parents because my parents are of a different religion. Um my mom is Catholic and my dad is or like a non-practicing Seventh-day Adventist. But he respects my mom's beliefs. He respects that, he goes to church with us when we do go to church, and
Mhm.
he'll stand, but he won't say prayers, he won't he won't like
Yeah.
he'll be present, but he's not going to convert to something that he
He
didn't
doesn't
grow up
believe
believing.
in.
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah.
grow up believing. And for with my brother and I, um, we we were baptized in a way that my dad didn't like, and he found out later in life. But I think for my dad, it was always like, if you, I'm okay with you believing in your mom's religion or believing in my religion, just as long as you do believe what you're baptized into.
Yes.
And so I feel like when it comes to your partner, it's like that, like my parents having that understanding of like, hey, I might not believe in everything you believe in, and I'll support you, I just won't practice it. And
Yeah.
there has to be that boundary of like, I can be there for you, I just won't I can't convert, you
Yeah, and
know.
and I won't partake in the practices. Like I mean, I hope y'all know like I'm a very open-minded person, and I don't think Jackie
Yes.
knows this, but like, I've always told myself like if my partner was ever like Buddhist
Hmm.
or, just like something just different
Hmm.
outside of like Catholicism. Like I'm not even a practicing Catholic, right? But it's just like, if my partner was like Christian or like Buddhist or like atheist or whatever, like that type of stuff doesn't matter to me as long as there's like that boundary of respect.
Yeah,
It's like you can
absolutely.
respect that like I'm Catholic and I have my own beliefs, and you can be on this like you're entitled to your own wrong opinion, but I respect it. And that like if that's the energy that's being brought to the situation, then that's cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But even more
Hmm.
so, like I'm the type of person where it's just like, oh, you're Buddhist? Like, why are you Buddhist? Like, why do you believe in this so much? And I just want to know. So, but me and Jackie are definitely just on the same page. We're just like born Catholic, and we're just figuring out the ways of life through our personal experiences.
there are personal experiences, and I feel like also too people say like, oh, you shouldn't talk about religion and politics and everything like that with your partner. It's like, no, you should,
You really should.
because it is like a very crucial thing. Like at the end of the day, what are you gonna raise your kids like on, you know?
Yes.
Like, what if one
Exactly.
doesn't believe in the other thing? Like, what if one person is atheist and the other does believe in God, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where you should be able to talk about politics and religion with your partner. And I've told Nico this, and you know, when that time does come for us to get married, I told him I would feel very. I feel like what's the word I'm looking for? I feel like a fake if I were to get married in a church.
Yeah, me too. Me
I feel
too.
because like and like this is gonna probably get people to in that listen to the podcast to get to know me and to get to know you more. But I I believe that everyone has a right to get married to whoever they want to get married to, regardless of gender, identity,
Mhm.
you know, religion, whatever. I have
Mhm.
you love is love, and you get to marry the person that you love.
Mhm.
And sometimes, and most of the time, the religion that we're both a part of doesn't believe in that.
Yeah.
So how can I stand in front of a priest, stand in front of a father, and stand in front of God and claim my love for Nico, but I believe in something that my church doesn't believe in?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so, I mean, I obviously want to get married to Nico, and we'll do it in a way that we both feel is acceptable and we feel comfortable.
Yeah. Well, shout out to the movie Spotlight. Y'all should watch that shit.
That's actually a really great movie.
Hey, y'all just watch Spotlight. It's a movie about people putting the spotlight on Catholic priests over in Boston, Massachusetts. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But
No,
this
it's a really
actually,
great.
yeah,
It's a really great movie. It's a
but
really
this
great movie.
this actually bleeds into the next couple that we wanted to talk
Oh,
about.
absolutely,
Oh,
yeah.
crazy. So honestly, you guys might just end up getting mad at both of us. Y'all might just not fuck with us anymore after this part of the conversation. But shouts out to the next couple, Bartice and Nancy.
Bartice and Nancy.
Yeah, this one's nuts. And I think Jackie and I both got on the same page completely with this couple.
Yeah, and
So Bartice, I guess you could kind of describe him as he's a good looking guy.
I wouldn't call him good looking.
Oh, okay. He has a very what's the word I'm like? He has the energy that he's
He's a very narcissistic.
well, he has that type of energy where it's like he's trying to grab everyone's attention. So naturally, like you would give your attention. Like imagine like your car is outside and a motorcycle passes by and your car is just honking its ass off. That's what Bartice is. It's just honking and honking and honking, and you're just like, okay, well, I kind of have to pay attention to this, right?
Yes.
That's
Uh-huh.
who Bartice is in my eye. I don't know this man, and this is just what I'm getting off of how the producers are portraying this guy.
Editing, yeah, editing all these people really.
Yeah, Nancy
Bartiz
on the other. Oh, go ahead.
Bartiz to me comes off like a very like cocky and slightly narcissistic uh
Slightly, yeah.
type of guy. And it's just like it's almost like cocky and narcissistic to where it's cringy. I'm just like, dude, like you're like, please just get away from me. And if you're a girl, you understand what I am saying. It's just like, you know, he's trying to like be all up on you, and you're just like,
Well,
bro,
he's trying to be the
please.
nice
Like,
guy in every situation.
he's not nice. He's
He's not
narcissistic.
nice. He's definitely not nice. Whereas, his counterpart in this show, Nancy, is sweet. She's
She's
super
a
nice.
very good, like, very good person. She's a sweetheart. I think she's too good for Bartiz, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
totally think so too. We're
so
we're on this iceberg of like we're not entirely sure if they got married yet or not, but there are a couple questions that arrive from their specific relationship. And again, Love is Blind is all about not being able to see the person on the other side of this wall, and then
Mhm.
eventually possibly getting married to them, right? But throughout their relationship, Bartice continually just says, Nancy is not my type. Nancy is not the person that I would get out in the real world. And he goes on to call like other women on the show, one specific woman in the show, like a smoke show, like she's super hot.
Yeah, and there was even like
I'm like,
so
bro, you don't say that, bro.
we're gonna talk about the person that Bartisa's complimented Raven later on with her
Yes.
relationship, but so basically Bartise and Raven dated in the pods, but Bartise ended up proposing to Nancy. Nancy said
Yes.
yes. They didn't get married. We're gonna find out if they get married, but they met, and since they were all able to meet each other in the vacation, Bartise got to see how Raven looks like. And Raven is a
Yes.
very, very beautiful woman, as well as Nancy. However, Bartise sees Raven. Everyone's drinking, everyone's having a good
Mm-hmm.
time. They go back to their hotel room, Bartise and Nancy, and Bartise openly says to Nancy that, Raven like is coming down in that tight dress and she's like has a nice body. And he goes, if we were in a bar, like Raven and I would like, we go up to each other. Like we're the type of people that go up to each other in bars and blah, blah, blah. And poor Nancy is there just taking all this from her
I
fiance.
would hate
And
that.
and he's just like, you're okay with me being dishonest with you, right? It's like, and she just has to say yes. Like she's put in an uncomfortable situation where it's just like she realizes that he's not attracted to her physically.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I think it's the truth hurts type of situation, right? Like it's pure honesty, but it comes to a point where you hear that honesty and then you come to realize like this person I'm probably not for this person because of how brutally honest they're being. Like I would 1,000% want to hear the truth, 1,000%.
Oh,
It's just unfortunate when that truth isn't particularly in your favor.
no, absolutely. And but also too, like Bartiz had tried to make the effort to even start something with Raven, knowing damn well he's engaged to Nancy. There was a instance in the show where they're all at a pool party and Bartiz goes up to Raven and says like, yeah, like he's trying to get her, he's complimenting her. He's all like, yeah, like you're a good looking person. Like I'm a good looking person. Like, I think we could have worked, right? Right. And respect to Raven because she was just like she kind of did in the confessionals like piece of the show where she was just like he's trying to get me to entertain this and I'm not going to do it because I am in a very committed relationship. And I
Yeah.
fully respect Nancy for that because there are women out there who will go and destroy other people's relationships to try and get the guy.
Yeah, and at that
And
point, I think I just came to realize like Bartiz is somebody who needs that constant validation.
mhm,
And it's like, whether he truly wanted to pursue a relationship with Raven, aka not his wife, or not,
mhm.
um, he wanted to know like, oh, you're attractive. I'm attractive too, right? And it's
Yes.
it's kind of like that situation where it's like it's a backhanded compliment. It's
Yeah.
like I'm telling you this just for you to tell me the same thing.
And I've said this before where like Raven is a great person and I've gotten to like know her more throughout this show, but had someone wanted to destroy Bartisa's and Nancy's relationship, they would have gone about it a completely different way. And I've said this before and people might kill me over this opinion, but no one seeks out like um okay, no one notices a happy man until that man is happy in a relationship.
Mm.
So, for example, if someone were to like see Nico and be like, "Oh yeah, like he's like attractive, but whatever," and the minute they see that Nico is finally in a relationship with me, and they're like, "Oh, like, well, I could get him," they could go and destroy that relationship.
Is that a thing?
That's
That's a
absolutely
thing.
a thing. That's absolutely a thing because there are women out there and there are like homewreckers out there. And I'm not just saying women, there's homewreckers and men too that will see somebody who's happy in a relationship and be like, you know what? Let me just go and try and get them to see if I can get them.
So that's the relationship effect.
Yes, that's the
That's the
relationship effect.
I didn't realize that. I mean, I figured it was a
Babe,
thing, but I didn't think it was like a thing.
you are so naive, babe. You are so naive.
Like that's just the weird.
I
That's
like
the weirdest shit.
respectfully,
Like no, but that's like the weirdest shit. It's
but that's not
this
that's not
especially happened in like high school, for example. It's like I would date somebody, and then out of nowhere, it's like all
oh,
these
all these
other
girls.
all of these
Yeah.
random girls. It's just like, dog, like where was this before I got in this relationship? It's
Oh,
so weird.
absolutely. It's absolutely the thing. And being a girl that's been on the receiving end of that, it's a very, very shitty
Mm,
feeling, you
mm,
know? And I can only imagine how Nancy feels. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that Raven like pursued it or anything because she
yeah,
shut it down right then and there. But that's where an insecurity comes in relationships right away. Like if now that Nancy knows that Bartice is really attracted to Raven and attracted to somebody that's not her,
yeah,
she already starts creating these scenarios. And that's what opens the door for women to just overthink because their partners aren't telling them how much they like appreciate them, how much they love them, how much like they adore them, like physically, emotionally, mentally. Like
yeah, yeah.
that's
I
what
get
creates
that.
scenarios.
Well, let me ask you this question: in a relationship, do looks matter?
I think looks matter to an extent.
Okay.
I think that, you know, I could find somebody attractive, but if they have a shitty personality, you could be a 10, like looks wise. But if you are an ass, I am not pursuing you.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
if you are someone who is like a good looking person and has a great personality and, you know, treats me well, then absolutely. I choose you any day over someone who is like supposed to be like the most perfect looking person in the world but has a shitty personality.
yeah. Because
So
it's
I
just it's very hard to deal with at the end of the day if you have someone with such a shitty personality. Like I can't imagine because this is definitely is not my situation. Like I can't imagine like going home to somebody who just has like the worst personality. Like you guys don't even like match well. You guys don't like even enjoy the same things. You guys can't get through a conversation without one person being bitter or whatever. And then it's like,
yeah,
oh, but they look good. It's like, dude, that does not matter at
like
all to
looks will
me.
only get
It's like there's no sanity. Like I have no sanity at the end of the day just because this person looks good. It doesn't
looks
make
will
me more calm.
looks will only get you so far.
Yeah,
Looks will
yeah.
only get you so far. But now, okay, now this brings up a good question that I want to know your opinion on.
Okay.
Would you rather date up or date down?
Man, you know, from someone who is down themselves, I'd rather I'd rather date down because you ain't got nothing to lose. look, look, all I'm saying is if you date down, more than likely they're gonna try hella hard and they're gonna be a ride or die.
Oh my
If you
god.
date somebody who's up, they're like, you know what, I could get to the next person because they're just gonna keep on the bus comes every 15 minutes if you date up.
Oh my
It's a
god.
Mario song. It's a Mario song. So
I'm sick.
for me, I'd rather date down because it's like, okay, this person's down. But in my current situation, I am dating up, and the girl who I am dating up is also down for me. Let's go.
Okay. Did you just inadvertently call me down?
No, I'm calling me with you and I, we're dating up. And I'm saying you are down for me. Like you're
Oh my
down,
god.
like you're down with me. You know what I mean? You're down
No,
with me.
no, I don't.
Like
But
you're down
okay,
from like you're not down, but you're down for me.
bro. Okay,
You're
bro.
not me dating down, but you're down for me.
What?
Do you
Okay,
want to go to
anyway.
McDonald's? I'm down. Okay, cool. So like,
Okay.
do you want to be in a relationship? Yeah, I'm gonna hold you
I hope your
down.
family is there listening to what you're saying.
They are definitely here for all of this and whatnot.
I wonder what they're saying right now in their heads.
I don't know, but we're about to get into a very crazy topic that they might just be like, "What the hell?" So this
Oh.
next topic
Are
that we're
you
gonna
sure you
get,
want to talk about this
yeah, let's
topic with
definitely
your
talk about this because I feel like at some point, like we should talk about like actually very serious topics, and it's funny because this topic actually popped up on my YouTube algorithm on a Joe Rogan clip,
Oh,
but
really?
yeah, one of the biggest issues that Bartice and
Wait,
Nancy
wait, wait.
have.
But before we start talking about it, I do want to preface this conversation with any for anybody who has gone through something in this case that we're about to talk about, or it might be triggering for some people. We do talk about abortion. We do understand that we are entitled to our own opinions, and so is everybody else, and we respect anybody's opinions. Um, and we just hope that you guys respect ours. And yeah, you guys, we hope that you guys have open minds, and by no means us
Mhm.
talking about this topic of abortion are we trying to get you to
Be on our side
be
or
on our
anything like
side,
that. Yeah, yeah,
or anything like that. But it is a topic that is currently a world issue right now,
yeah.
a United States issue, an America issue. And
Yes.
so we just hope that people in our comment section and our listeners respect each other's views. If anybody comments on anything, respect each
Yes.
other's views. We are not here to spread hate. We are only here to spread love. And that is whether you don't agree with us or you do agree with us. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure, for
So,
sure. But yeah, we Bartice and Nancy's like one of the biggest issues was that um they don't see eye to eye when it comes to abortion. And Bartice's opinion is that like no matter what, like you do not abort the child.
mhm. uh,
Nancy's opinion is, it's my body, my choice. Which
And with Nancy's background in work, she is a speech pathologist. So she has seen people in families that she's worked with go through a lot of struggles. And that's why she believes that it is pro choice.
yeah. And I think to bleed into like my opinion, and as y'all know, like I grew up Catholic and whatnot, so they told you like like it's wrong, like you're not supposed to do that, like. But I think when you start growing up and you start to see like what really happens in the real world, like when it comes down to like unplanned stuff. And unplanned stuff happens all the time, whether you are not being safe, you don't use condoms or stuff like that, right? But then there are also situations in which like it comes down to like rape victims and
Sexual
like
assault.
yeah, sexual assault, like like girls getting raped at like 14 years old, 15 years old, and then what? They have to carry the burden of a child that
Is
I just feel like they shouldn't even raise. Like I don't
mhm.
think that's fair.
I mean,
I personally just do not think that is fair. And I
it's-
think in that situation, like, you know, it should be okay. It should be
mhm,
okay for a pro-choice situation.
and I just feel like in Bartiz and Nancy's situation, and this is my opinion about how it works in relationships. I feel like if you have an opposing view on this particular topic, I feel like that relationship can't work.
Yeah, that
I
too. That
I
too.
feel I feel like no matter what, if like, and Nico and I both agree on our stance of abortion, that it is pro-choice. Um, However, like if we were to have opposing views, I feel like it just wouldn't work between us.
I don't think so because it's such a hard-hitting topic that I feel like a lot of people just end up not even talking about, but
Mhm.
like I think at the end of the day, if you are pro-choice and you and your partner are both pro-choice, then cool, you both are pro-choice. But if you guys are like, pro-life, then that relationship might just work well for you guys, and that's
Mhm.
cool too.
And I
But
feel like if well, sorry, babe, go ahead.
no, good.
I feel like if you are pro-life, you are a very strong person because I can't do personally. I can't go through a struggle sometimes, and I just feel like I can't be. I do give respect to those who are pro-life in the sense of those who go along with a pregnancy and go along through with struggles of raising a child that m- maybe a traumatic type of way that they came into this world, or just
Hmm.
might be a child that has difficulties living with disabilities. I think those people who are pro-life are very, very strong for that. I do think that there are certain pro-life people who do it for evil instead.
Yeah,
There is this respectful way to go about being pro-choice and being pro-life, and that is fine. I will never push my beliefs down someone's throat and tell them my way is the right way.
yeah. Like that shouldn't even be the case. It
I
really shouldn't be the case.
and it shouldn't. And I feel like
Like,
part
it also goes back to the people who are like pro-choice. It's like you shouldn't be shoving that down people's throats who don't believe that.
mhm.
Honestly.
And I feel like again, these are topics or conversations to have with your partner. Now, do I think you should go out in the world and with your friends just be like, hey, pro choice, hey, I'm over here, like I'm pro choice, I'm pro life, I'm this and that? No. I feel like if that conversation does come up, okay, like cool. And if one of my friends is pro life, I'll respect it. Like that's cool. But I just know that I'm not going to talk to you about that type of conversation, that topic, because I don't want it to get to a point where we have arguments about it, you know? I know I'm probably not going to change their viewpoints. They're not going to change mine. So we can know about each other's, but I won't talk about it, you know? Just same
Yeah.
thing about like religion, same thing about politics. Like, yeah, we
Yeah.
could joke around about like if you're Republican or if you're Democrat or if you're liberal or whatever, and we could joke, but I'm not gonna instill like, oh, this is why you should vote this and this is why you should vote that and blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think, and this is how I feel. I think abortion is a human right.
I think
I
so too.
think I think that, and I believe that if you have no uterus, you have no opinion.
I agree with that too. I mean, I definitely still also think it takes two to tango. I think there's a responsibility on both ends, but at the end of the day, as a uh, you know, male, as a guy on this earth, it's like we're not carrying that for like 9 months. We're not carrying a baby for 9 months.
Mhm.
Like we're not dealing with like the back cramps and that's just like a little thing. Like we're not dealing with like everything that comes with like an actual pregnancy, like internally. Yes,
Mhm.
as a guy or just like as a partner, you deal with all the external factors. But like, I don't think as a guy, you'll truly be able to understand the internal factors that go into it. And
Mhm.
so when it comes down to abortion, it's like, I don't necessarily have a choice. But
Mhm.
because like Jackie and I have talked about this conversation prior, it's not going to come to a surprise if that time comes and we got to come down to a decision. We can only hope that we'll be on the same page because we've already talked about it.
Yeah. And I feel also too that's definitely a conversation to have only with your partner and not your family.
As my family's over in the other room and we're talking
No,
about
no,
this
no,
on the
no. But I meant
podcast.
I meant like like if it comes down to a decision between, you know, following through with a pregnancy or just terminating a pregnancy, that is something that you and your partner decide together. And that is something that you guys are okay with. And it doesn't matter if anyone else is okay with it or not.
Yeah, for
Because I
sure.
think for Bartiz and Nancy's situation, when Bartiz's family met Nancy, it was very, very rude of him. And I think very, like, I don't know what the word is. It was just the only word I can think of is very evil of him to bring up the abortion topic in front of his family, knowing Nancy's stance on it. And if that's Bartiz's stance
Yeah.
on it, he knows his family's stance on it.
Yeah, I think that was also like a defense mechanism on him to see like how much she can take, because if he's truly not really into her, then that might have just been like a way for him to be like, cool, let me see if she could
Like,
like take this jab.
yeah, or
Well, you're
also
basically just like a freaking haymaker to the face.
yeah, or also be like, "Oh, let me make her break up with me," type of thing.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I feel
That's
like
that
that,
narcissistic tendency.
and that's what like I feel like Bartiz did that twice. I feel like Bartiz uh is preparing Nancy for a no or a breakup at the altar, because there was an instance where he said like, "Oh yeah, I like sometimes just check out of my relationships and wouldn't for no reason, and like I just fall out of love with people, so like that might happen with you." And I was just like,
Insane.
"Why would you say that?" Like, you're
Insane.
like, and I think he said that because of he wanted to pursue Raven, and I think he
Yeah.
wanted to pursue this, and I think he just wasn't attracted to Nancy physically, and instead of being upfront and being a man, he said that. And then the second instance was when he brought up the topic of abortion in front of his family, knowing Nancy's stance on it and knowing his family stance on it. And it's a super huge red flag that his sister automatically started sobbing when Nancy said
Yeah.
her stance on abortion. Like,
Yeah.
girl, Nancy, run, Nancy. I am telling you, run. You are in a get out type of situation. Run.
Oh God. Well, we'll see what happens with Bartiz and Nancy.
I feel like Nancy did say I do. Nancy did say I do. Bartiz, we are going to find out very soon what his answer is, but I think he's gonna say no.
I don't know, but I think that here's what I think. I think that he's not gonna say no because he doesn't want to be the guy who says no. He I think he's the type of guy to just wait it out until she messes up.
Or until she wants out of it.
Or yeah, or until she wants out so that he looks like the victim afterwards.
Ugh,
I think that's
disgusting.
what it is.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. But who knows? We will see in the next episode of Love is Blind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Well, that was heavy.
That was heavy.
That was definitely heavy. We keep on going with like more of these couples.
Do you want to?
Yeah, we definitely can. This is actually one of my favorite couples now, Cole and Zenub. So
Colin?
Cole's a white guy. Zenub is like something else.
I
something
believe
something with a
Zena.
lot more like flavor and seasoning and
Oh
everything in
my
the pot.
gosh.
That's
Let's
what
see what
Zenub
Zenub
is.
is. Zenub is
First of all, that's a very interesting name.
yes,
Zenub.
but it's a very
Z-A-B.
it's a very beautiful name. Let's see. Zenub is let's see. I have it right here. Um let's see.
You want
Zenub.
me to Google it?
No, hold on. She's Christian. She's from Pakistan. She has Pakistani background, and her ethnicity is Indo-Aryan.
Yes. She was born in Irvine, Scotland. First of all, I didn't even
Hmm.
know Scotland had an Irvine. That's crazy.
Oh gosh. Anyway.
Shout out to UC Irvine. One
Oh
time for
god.
the one time. But yeah, this is actually one of my more favorite couples, and I really hope that this one works out. But
They have
Um,
issues to work through, though.
yeah, they do have a couple issues to work with. Zeneb, one of her biggest issues is that she is extremely insecure. So I want to beg the question, can insecurity ruin a relationship?
I think, uh, see, I want to say no, because I feel like if you are in a relationship, it's your partner's also responsibility to understand your insecurities and to reassure you.
Hmm.
However, I don't think that like the full responsibility lands on your partner.
I
Like, does
don't
that
think
make sense?
I don't think
Like,
so either. I mean, I half agree with you. I think if you are insecure, like truly insecure and like you can't get over certain things, I don't think it's time for you to be in a relationship.
hmm,
I think it's okay for
hmm,
you to like test the waters,
hmm.
right? You know, like you can go out and date and whatever and whatnot, but like to be in a full-fledged relationship and have insecurities that you personally have not worked through yet, or you haven't had time to like process and really get over, I don't think it's fair to yourself. And I also don't think it's fair to your partner that you're going into that relationship with those insecurities. Because I don't think it's something that somebody else should fix.
No, but I think it is, and this is my opinion, I think it is something that a partner should try and understand. I think, for example, I have insecurities. I have like, and I'll be very open. I do have insecurities with like, the work environment that Nico is in. But I think Nico has understood how to make those insecurities not be an issue as much anymore, because he's found a way to reassure me. He's found a way to talk to me about it. And I've found a way to talk about it. I found a way to like, so I think it's just more of a compromise when your partner is a more of an insecure type of person.
Yeah, but I think that's an insecurity that comes with an action that is done within the relationship. I'm
Hmm.
talking about an insecurity that comes from out from a relationship that had nothing to do with you, for example. So like for instance, right? Like um let's just say I was insecure about like me having long hair.
Hmm.
Okay, no. Okay, let's get a little bit deeper, right? Let's say like my previous girlfriend didn't enjoy the fact that I love Pokemon so much, right? No, that's
Hmm.
actually not too deep either. I don't know. I don't really have too many like. I'm not really all that insecure about stuff,
Okay.
but
So,
like
but you're talking about like if like someone brings like an insecurity from a past relationship into his.
yeah, like
Okay.
baggage that comes from like a past relationship. I
Okay.
don't think it's
All right.
fair
I
for
have a
like
scenario
wait. I don't think it's like if you have baggage from like a previous relationship, I don't think it's fair to bring that in to a new relationship for both of you because you haven't dealt with it straight on, the person who has the baggage, and you're laying that baggage onto somebody else to try to fix.
Yeah.
I
No.
don't think that's fair.
No, I don't think so either. I do think like for like um example, I in my previous relationship, it was a very emotionally and verbally abusive relationship, and it would not be fair had I brought in my trauma and my insecurities of that into my relationship with Nico. And like it would have been very, I think Nico and I probably would not have lasted as long as we have had I brought in those insecurities. I would have not believed everything Nico said. I mean, and trust me, for a while I did believe a lot of the things that was told to me, and I didn't believe I was worthy of a lot of things. I didn't believe I was like, and I've told Nico this, I didn't believe that I was good enough for him, for Nico. And, it wasn't until Nico finally understood that where it was just like, okay, I know how Jackie works. I know how my partner works. And these are the types of things that I have to communicate with my partner in order for them to be less insecure and get out of that mentality. So I don't think insecurity I don't know. It depends really. Like you said,
Depends on what.
I feel like you have to be willing to get through your insecurities in order for a relationship to work. If you're not, then the relationship's not going to work.
Yeah.
You have to be
Fair.
willing to do your part to try and get through it. And trust me, like there's insecurities that are hard to get through. There are. But I think having a partner that understands and that can help, not fully like give them the responsibility of like, hey, fix me,
Yes. Yeah.
but having them understand like, hey, I am insecure. I am insecure, and I may struggle with what you tell me, but I am going to work on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody ever has like that willpower to just like fully get over something like right away. You know what I
Oh,
mean? I'm
absolutely
not talking
not.
about like you were just in a relationship like a year ago and you should be over like every little single thing like, like within like a year or whatever. I'm not saying that.
Mhm.
But like as long as I will agree with that. Like as long as there is a willingness to work through these things and you're not using your insecurities as like a crutch,
Mhm.
which I've felt like at times Zenab has been using her insecurity as a crutch. And again, this is based off how the producers are portraying it. Like as long as you're not using it as a crutch, it's okay. Like you can't constantly blame whatever insecurities you have going on with yourself as to why you are the way you are, right?
Mhm.
So like for instance, like if it's really hard for me to like cuz I'm not like really all that insecure. I'm the only thing I'm really insecure
Wow.
about is this freaking thing on my freaking hand and it's so annoying.
Mhm.
It's so annoying, but it's like I can't complain about how like it's annoying if I don't do anything about it. That's what I'm saying. But I can't really complain.
Interesting.
No, but you get what I'm saying. It's like I can't keep on bringing up what my insecurities are and knowing what they are without
Mm.
having to want to do something about it. If I've already addressed what the issue is and I know what the issue is,
Mhm.
like then it's up to me to figure out how to get past that issue and not let anybody try to figure out that issue for me.
No, absolutely. And I feel like like that's something that like, I feel like I've had a lot more insecurities in our relationship than you have, obviously. Um but I feel like one of my biggest insecurities is just or like a few of my biggest insecurities was just like one your lifestyle, your career lifestyle. To uh my other insecurity was being like having some baggage, and three was an insecurity of trust. Like I constantly in the like I would say like there was a time period where I just constantly questioned Nico's like my trust in Nico. And he didn't deserve that, but it was just like, my insecurity getting the best of me. And it wasn't until like, Nico and I damn near like broke up where I realized that like, okay, I have to get over this. If not, I'm gonna lose like the greatest person I've ever been with.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now that we've had this conversation, now I can think of an insecurity that I've had. So
What?
like in one of my former relationships, it was about like a 3-year relationship, and it was heartbreaking because it's like I literally put myself out there, and I felt that I what's the word I'm looking for? I felt like at that point I like gave everything that I could and I gave my all. So I made myself extremely vulnerable. Like
Mhm.
I literally put myself out there. And then after it was just like a shit ton of heartbreak, which I do not want to like personally share that story, but it was just
Mhm.
a shit ton of heartbreak. It actually put me in this position where like I didn't want to be vulnerable anymore. I didn't want to feel anymore. I didn't want to put myself in a position where I could care for somebody else and I wouldn't also allow somebody to care for me like so much as well because I just didn't want to deal with like all that heartbreak anymore. Now, if I took that and kept it through the relationship I currently have with Jackie, then that would be totally unfair. And so for me, it took a while to like get over that and just be like, you know what, like this situation is completely different from the situation I was in before, and the vulnerability that I put in before, though it wasn't with the right person, um, I could find the willingness to be as vulnerable, if not more vulnerable, with the person who I'm with, aka Jackie. And let's just see where it goes because it wouldn't be fair if I didn't give my all to someone who I felt like is like really, 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 really worth it. So, had to get over that hump of just I can't not be vulnerable. I can't not feel.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's just yeah. So
and
we
Jackie's
hope.
crying if you guys are like listening to this.
Yeah, I get very teary eyed when I talk about insecurities. Yeah, but I am working through them.
Yes. I mean, we all are. We all are. I mean, I think when it comes to like the insecurities that we have, like within ourselves or like for the other person that we have, or the, differences that we may have, whether it come down to abortion or religion or financial well being or anything of those things, like the important thing is that we understand that we can talk about these things and we can share these things with each other. And it might not even be with your partner. It might be with like your best friend. It might be with your family members or what have you. But the
Mhm.
important thing is that we are sharing these things. And, I think speaking for both Jackie and I, we appreciate you guys like listening to us and having us open up for like the past hour, even though a lot of this had to do with other people.
Mhm.
But it was cool to like reflect um within our personal lives. It was cool to reflect about our personal lives through these people that we watch on Love Is Blind.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's like, and like, I feel like people, you guys, like, who are listening, got, and I said, I was talking to Nico, which I forgot we were completely doing a podcast right now. That's why I said people, but I feel like you
You
guys,
people.
I feel like you guys, the people who are listening, like, got to know us a little bit more. Obviously, Nico and I do keep some things to ourselves, like our personal lives as far as past relationships, because that's just something that, um, if we want to talk about it, we will. But right now, it's not something that we do want to talk about it, put out into the world like that.
Yeah.
Um, but we do try our best to make you guys relate to us in the sense of like we have been through heartbreak, we have been through, a lot of shit. We
Yeah.
have our fair share of shit that we've gone through, and we don't want you guys to think that like, oh, our relationship is perfect, our relationship is like the blueprint, because it's not.
Mm-hmm.
um but we also want you guys to know that we do go through struggles, we do go through insecurities, we do go through like patches where we just, have to talk about things first off camera in order to create this, uh create this, what's the word I'm looking for, create this sense of like, you guys can feel that we are going through the same thing, that we have gone through the same thing, that we are currently
Yeah.
going through the same thing, or like a
Yeah.
sense of relatability.
Yeah, like
We
we're
want you guys to
not.
be able to relate to you guys.
And I think that's the toughest part that, and this is like kind of off topic, but like, when you see us in like, or anybody on like social media, you could see like these superstars or, like influencers, whether it be Colin Zinna, Bartise and Nancy, Alexa and Brennan, or, just like anybody that you see on TV. It's like, these relationships are formed to make it, to formalize a story for you guys, so you guys can kind of like be intrigued with it. But at the same time, I think not everything needs to be produced, not everything needs to be like edited in a way in which like will make it interesting, because just the everyday lives that each and every one of you go through, like it is interesting. And we go through the same shit. We go through like the nights where we have to talk till like 3 in the morning to try to like hash something out. It happens. It literally happens, and like it does get tough. And then we got to turn around and do a podcast the next day. So
Yeah, like
like we understand that, like, well, rather we hope that you understand that we go through the same things that each and every one of y'all do. So you might be in a relationship, you might be in a car with someone that you love, or you might be in the car with your partner or someone that you might want to pursue, or just maybe even a friend. And just at the end of the day, like, we're here for you, we're here to listen to you, and we hope that we relate to you in many different ways.
yeah. Yeah.
And technically, we are talking to you through a screen, or you're listening to us through like an audio book or whatever, and our love for you is truly blind because we don't see you, and you might not directly be seeing us, and
Uh,
we might not be directly looking at you, hearing us. Okay, that's it. But
okay, yeah.
you know where I was going.
Yes. So our love is blind for our listeners.
Our love is blind for our listeners, aka you, my friend, aka you.
Yes.
We might have to do a part 2 to the Love is Blind stuff, because there's literally 2 more couples, but this podcast is going on for hella long.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And honestly, we might just be able to like do a whole recap after.
Yeah,
Next
we could.
yeah.
Yeah, because we're gonna watch like the new episode in a couple days, and we'll do a recap. We'll do a recap,
We'll
and
do a
I mean,
recap.
watch the show, fellas. Fellas, let me give you a pro tip on life. If you ever want to make your girl happy, watch a show that she wants to watch.
Please. It will make us literally, and honestly, like guys are they cap so much. Guys are like the biggest cappers ever when it comes to like reality TV. They're like, oh, I wouldn't watch that, but yet are the first ones to like stand and just watch and then just walk away and then come back and then stand and just watch. And it's just like, oh, so that's what happened. It's like, just sit down and watch at this point, my guy. Like
that's what I'm saying. It's like Jackie would put on Love is Blind, and I'd just be like, you know what? I'm actually very interested in this, and I want to know how these relationships end up forming. And you might read it and just be like, oh, it's kind of stupid. Like they're trying to date each other without seeing each other. But then when you actually see it, it's like, oh my God, like I kind of want to see how stupid it could get. But then I also kind of want to see like how interesting it could get at the same time.
Yeah, because guys love drama just as much as girls at the end of the day.
Yeah. And fellas or ladies, whatever you're into, you might get some from watching your partner's show. Just saying.
Oh my God.
My name is Nico Blitz.
And I'm Jackie Ramirez. Also, if you guys ordered any shirts, they will be going out this week. This week is Monday, November the 7th when we're recording this, but you'll be seeing this Tuesday, November 8th. They will be going out this week. So you guys should be getting them by end of this week or beginning next week. And please tag us in your stories. If you guys want to like try it on, post it, and do like a little like how I style my Mexipino shirt, and we'll repost it. We'll repost you guys at Mexipino Podcast.
There we go. My name is Nico Blitz.
I'm Jackie Ramirez.
And this is the Mexipino Podcast. Thank you for listening, y'all. Episode 40. Adios.
Adios.